Though his time on Earth was short, Sid Vicious's life was full of blood, drugs, and everything punk. And it was with this vigor that his bright light went out in a spectacular blaze. Stories of Vicious, who played bass for the Sex Pistols, have percolated throughout culture as both an example of tragedy and the epitome of punk. As you'll soon see, he truly lived without boundaries. In the late hours of October 12, 1978, at the famous New York Chelsea Hotel, Nancy Spungen made her way to the bathroom with a stab wound, leaving an eerie trail of blood behind her. The night before, her boyfriend, Sid Vicious, had bought a large number of opioids from his drug dealer and bodyguard, which he shared with his guests, including Spungen. Sid downed a reported 30 tablets and then blacked out. He was in such a deep state of unconsciousness that he didn't wake up until the next day. It was then when he discovered Spungen's lifeless body and called the front desk for help. When the police arrived, Sid was found wandering the halls in a state of misery and muttering that he was responsible for her death. Despite Nancy's well-known status as a drug addict with plenty of enemies, Sid was arrested and charged with her death, though he later recanted his admission of guilt. With Sid's consumption of drugs and the high foot traffic of unsavory individuals in and out of the hotel room that night, there was no clear indication on the report of what happened. In the end, Nancy's murder was never solved. Months after Nancy's death, Vicious lashed out. In one incident, Sid broke a bottle and shoved it in the face of Todd Smith, the brother of singer Patti Smith. Witnesses claim that the disagreement began when Vicious taunted Smith after he asked the Sex Pistols guitarist to be respectful of his girlfriend. While police hauled Vicious off to jail, Smith was taken to hospital and nearly lost an eye. Smith pressed charges, saying he thought that if Vicious isn't put behind bars or in a hospital, he would kill himself. His stay wasn't for long, as Sid's mother bailed him out shortly after his arrest. That wasn't the first or last known violent incident by Vicious. Within the walls of the famous London punk venue, the 100 Club, Vicious beat music journalist Nick Kent with a bike chain. Prior to the incident, Kent published many disparaging remarks about the Sex Pistols' lead singer, Johnny Rotten. Naturally, this resulted in tension between Kent and the band. At some point in the night, Kent walked by Vicious, asking him to move over. Sid responded by pulling out his chain, saying he didn't like the journalist's trousers, and lashed him. That wasn't even the most gruesome act of violence. After his mother kicked him out of the house, it's rumored that Sid would strangle cats. This type of violence and drama seemed to follow Vicious his whole life. He attended the Kingsway College for Difficult and Expelled Kids. It was there where his friend John Wardle saw Sid's dark side during a counseling session in which Vicious admitted to suicidal tendencies. In addition to thoughts of ending his own life, Vicious reportedly participated in self-mutilation. On a meal stop during one of the Sex Pistols' American tours, a cowboy challenged Vicious to snuff out a cigarette on his hand. Vicious did him one better. He took out his knife and cut his finger, letting the blood trail down to his eggs, which he then ate to the dismay of everyone around him. Lesson learned: never challenge a punk rocker. By the time the band reached Dallas, Vicious had carved "Give me a fix" into his chest with a piece of glass. Apparently, this self-destructive behavior began when he was a teenager. Sid's father witnessed him cutting his hand just to get attention. This self-abusive behavior sadly also turned outward. Nancy's mother accused Vicious of beating her daughter when he was depressed. In Nancy's final conversation with her mother, she claimed that Vicious had broken her nose and torn her ear, amongst other gruesome acts during their drug-fueled fights. Though it definitely doesn't make his treatment of Nancy right, she was the one and only person Vicious ever loved. Even those who despised her admitted that he truly cared for her. With this sentiment in mind, Vicious penned a list of her best attributes in a sweet tribute. This was months before she died. It seems that no matter how punk one appears, their heart is still capable of romantic love. There's romantic love, and then there's the love of a mother. This too can be spoiled, especially when said mother is a junkie. Vicious's mom, Ann Beverly, reportedly used Vicious, then a toddler, as a drug mule when they lived in Spain. Later on in his life, Beverly even gave Vicious a bag of heroin as a birthday gift, and, unbelievably, according to Sex Pistols manager Malcolm McLaren, she even smuggled heroin in her body cavity for her son while he was in prison. Though all of these stories of Vicious's twisted life are shocking, nothing compares to the following infamous story, and it epitomizes what a punk rock legend he was. With company like TODD Ramone, founding member and songwriter of the Ramones, there was no shortage of punk-inspired debauchery. However, Sid topped even the hardest of rockers. One such incident occurred in a bathroom that was coated with puke from the floor to the sink in the toilets. While TODD was in awe of the filth, Sid was unfazed. He took out a syringe, loaded it with speed, then dipped it in the toilet and filled it with dirty puke water. And if that wasn't cringeworthy enough, Vicious didn't even bother to cook the mixture. He just jammed it in his arm. When Vicious's mother bailed him out of jail for his assault on Smith, his new girlfriend threw him a freedom party. Once the celebration died down, Peter Gravel arrived with a present from Vicious's mother, a stash of 98% pure heroin. Even though Gravel warned him not to take too much, Vicious ignored him and overdosed. In a sad turn of events, his mother, the person who brought Sid into this world, most likely was the reason the Pistols' bassist died. It seems the stories that surround Sid Vicious's life take front stage to his short-lived career in the Sex Pistols, even though he reportedly never really learned to play the bass. In fact, some people say that he swung his guitar in fights better than he could play, which seems to align with the many stories of his confrontations. And as a result of this behavior, he cost the band their record label deal with EMI in 1977. They were quickly picked up by A&M's label shortly after, but even that contract wouldn't last. Sid Vicious simply never learned. He was a punk until the day he overdosed and died. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and watch more. We're Weird History.